Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. Just a few things I want to go over tonight and share with you. I did get the four-wheeler tore apart. It kind of snowballed. I was just going to do a little bit, and then it progressed and progressed and progressed, and before I knew it, I had the whole top end tore apart and didn't turn the camera on. So what I found is, I don't know, it's rather disturbing. I'll just take you right over here and show it to you. It wasn't good. There's the inside of the cylinder. Yeah, it's scored and scarred pretty bad. I'm not going to do anything with it. Worry about sleeving it. And the bad thing about it is, this is a cylinder works kit that somebody spent money on. Here's a piston here. It took me quite a bit to get the cylinder and piston. I mean, it was moving freely, no issues. There's the exhaust cap for the exhaust cam, and then there is the bottom bearing there. You can see the head is junk. You know, when you're doing this stuff, you need to pay attention. The reason this happened was, I think I told you in one of the other videos, right here, these two holes, the reason they're bigger is because there's alignment pins that go in there just like that right there. And that keeps that from moving under stress of, you know, over revving the engine or giving it accelerator or, you know, giving it gas or what have you. When I took the head off, there's that alignment pin, and that one's gone. So everything was just allowed to move, and I believe there was also one missing from the cylinder, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because there's some on the bottom right there and there also that keeps that from going back and forth and twisting and turning. So under, you know, heavy RPMs. So we are now, I did purchase a used head today. It should be shipped out tomorrow from Marketplace. There is a slew of bikes that takes these engines. It's the Suzuki LTZ, the Kawasaki KFX, the Suzuki DRZ, the Arctic Cat DVR, I think it's called. But there's a bunch of bikes that takes this engine, and from what the information that I gathered, the research that I've done, Suzuki actually built all of the engines and actually built this quad. If I do this VIN number, it comes back as a 2004 Suzuki LTZ. So I don't know if somebody, I think I said in one of the other videos, has tried to make it look like a Kawasaki or what. But we're just gonna run with it. I'm gonna fix it and try and do the best that I can. So like I said, I do have a head coming. I wanted to measure that piston because factory is 94 millimeter from side to side. I'm sorry, factory is 90 millimeter, and the big bores are 94. So I wanted to measure this and see what it was. I don't see anything. Nope, this is just 89.97. So I'm going to assume this is just a standard 90. It's not a big bore, but it is an aftermarket cylinder and piston. Just a standard though, so we're going with a big bore kit, but still these are right around $300-400 for the cylinder works. And wrist pin was fine. Bearing in the connecting rod was fine. No pieces and parts down inside the engine. You know, everything was good there. Bearing seems good on the connecting rod. Bearing seems good for the top of the wrist pin on the piston. So I'm just going to put a top end in it and kind of go with from there. I will include you guys when I put it back together to kind of go over that. So that's where I'm at with the quad. I know it's supposed to be a channel project, but like I said, last night kind of snowballed. My son was asking me if we could do some work on it, and before I knew it, I had the whole top end tore apart. So there's quite a bit, actually. I'll kind of go over it just a little bit. There's actually quite a bit that has to come off. Since this is a liquid cooled engine, the exhaust has to come off, carburetor has to be moved. and you got to drain your radiator fluid too. There's full bolts. I took off this radiator hose, and then just to drain some of the water out, I put just a little bit of compressed air and blew it out of the bottom there. And this is where the water pump is. So have to make sure and put water back or coolant back in the radiator before we fire everything up. But there is 4 bolts that go down through the head in the 4 corners there. And then that holds everything together. It goes down through the head, through the cylinder, into the block, so, or into your lower case. And then there's bolts on the side too, on the cylinder, right there, and on the head, there's some studs. So that's how those come apart. Yeah, so that's where we're at with the quad. Parts are ordered. I did get a big bore kit coming too for it. I'm gonna try one of the eBay kits. I come across that today on Marketplace too, and it's one of those eBay big bore kits for $190. The guy bought it, never used it, brand new in a package. I received extensive pictures, and he's shipping it to me for $125. So I'm out $125. Worst comes to worst. I mean, my son, he rides, but he doesn't ride real hard. It's basically just a trail bike, so we're gonna see how it holds up. I don't know, we'll see. Other than that, I wanted to go over some of the parts I received for the dually. The 3rd gen, it is coming. Today was my first 3:30 day. It's raining and it's already dark out. We have the bearings. These are a Amazon item. Right there's that part number. I'll have a link in the description for these. So they look like they're a pretty nice unit. 2-wheel drive, comes with all the sensor plugs. So everything should be good. We're gonna give it a shot. The 2-wheel drive is just a 3-bolt. 4-wheel drive would be a 4-bolt hub. So I do have a couple of videos on removal of these. I think I do, I'm not certain, for my 2nd gen, but we're gonna put these on both sides. Got front brakes, front shocks to do yet. And then on the Detroit axle box on Amazon, whoops, I was actually able to find this, and what this is a complete front end kit from Amazon. Detroit axle stuff. It has upper control arms with ball joints. It has the drag links with tie rod ends for the front rack and pinion. It has sway bar end links. And it also has lower ball joints. So we are going to take care of every single piece on the front end of this truck and have everything taken care of. Just gonna, when I pull these off of the rack, I'll just measure length from here to the end itself after this gets screwed on there, and just like that, and get it close, but we will have to go get the truck aligned. But I picked this up from Amazon for $145, and this is Detroit axle stuff. I've always heard good feedback from Detroit axles, so I was kind of stoked to find everything I needed in one box from Amazon for $145. Tone ring. Did you hear it make the tone? I saved that out of that old axle right there. Lost my train of thought. Squirrel. I was happy to find, or lucky to find, you know, that on Amazon through Prime, and shipped to my door, $145, every single piece I need. Gonna give it a shot. I've said it time and time again, I've blown the budget on this build, so I gotta kind of make money up where I can and see how long this stuff lasts. So we're gonna give that a try. Like I said, I've always heard good things about Detroit axle parts, so why not try it? Last thing on the agenda for tonight, if you guys remember last year, I blew an engine up. If you guys follow me on Instagram, Right there's my Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, there is a picture on there. I was cleaning my leaves in my yard and blew an engine up on this vacuum. So I'm going to go ahead and I picked up a Predator engine from Harbor Freight. And we're going to get that put on that track vac and get put on my mower so I can start cleaning the leaves in my yard, because we have had some couple of frosts, a lot of wind, and some rainy days, and they are falling fast. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I've never used one of these Predator engines before. I've heard other people having good luck with them. So I thought I would give it a try. They had them on sale like they normally do for the $97, $98, whatever it is. Basically, they're just a Honda clone engine. So we're going to put that, like I said, on there and see what we can do. At first glance, with this out of the box, it pretty much looks like one of the Honda GX 160s that I have. That is actually blown up, so that's why I'm not using that engine. Still has the fuel, or the choke, the fuel on and off, your on and off switch for power. Everything's pretty much the same, except for that one says Predator and it's a 212, and the other one says Honda and GX 160. So I did notice they don't want they do not want any E85 in this engine. So just regular gas, or regular premium gas is probably what I'll run in there. And through the winter months, I do run a product called Startron. So once I'm done doing my cleanup for the year, you know, in my yard, I'll be able to, or if Dad needs some help, I'll be able to just put it away and everything will be ready to go. I use a product called Startron. I don't have any right now. I always look that way because that's my cabinet right there that I kind of keep stuff in with all the stickers there. So that's the reason I look over there. Or I would show it to you. It's in a blue bottle, clear, kind of smells like kerosene. What I like about that, it has a moisture dispersant in it. Kind of like the EDT, it's got a moisture dispersant in it. So I do run Startron in all my engines, whether it be my mowers or my mower or my push mower, weed whip. I run all that stuff. I run that in all that additive in all my gasoline engines throughout the winter or colder months. So last year when I first got this unit, it had the Briggs & Stratton on it, and I had to put this little extension on here because mounted on the engine plate, it was too close to the back of the engine. The engine was too close to the bulkhead right here, so I had to move it back a little bit. So we're going to see how this one mounts and if it will actually mount on the plate, or do I need to go back just a little bit further. All right, if you look here, it's going to be the same. The air box is going to be hitting this bulkhead, so I'm going to have to do the same thing as mount this engine back on this little extension that I've made. And then I'll just mount this with some 5/16 hardware by probably a couple of inches. Bolts will go up through the bottom with some some flat washers and lock nuts. I put my stuff up through the bottom because of vibration. Should hold that nut on there versus if it was going down with the nut on the bottom, that vibration, that nut can just fall off. Just my own little or I don't know, my own little thing, I guess. So I'll get that mounted on that platform and then get the squirrel cage mounted. All right, I have my engine mounted on there and I got ready to put my squirrel cage on, and I had to check these bolts. These are a 5/16, but they are a 5/16 by 24. Everything I have is 5/16 by 18. Even the shaft is a 5/16 by 24. So I'm gonna have to go get some hardware. But I was looking at my impeller and it's a 1-inch shaft. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the one out in the shed out there is a 3/4 inch shaft, and everything else that we have is also 3/4 inch shaft. So I'm done for the night. Either I'm gonna have to check that impeller out there, buy another impeller, or go buy the next step up engine that has a 1-inch shaft. I'll check that GX 160 upstairs. But I'm sure that has a 1-inch shaft on it too, or I'm sorry, a 3/4 inch shaft. I'm pretty sure everything else is 1-inch shaft, but oh well, my mistake. So we're only human, we're only perfect. So anyway, I guess I'm done for the night. Yeah, so hit that like button, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already done so. Remember, there is more 3rd gen content coming. Got that whole front end to rebuild, and we will get to that soon. So I guess subscribe, become part of the family. We'll talk to you guys later on. Bye-bye.